Well, good day to everybody, and welcome to all of you once again to these very special lessons called I was going to say cobotics, robotics, and coding, brought to you by the Department of Basic Education and, of course, Africa Teen Geeks. It's good to be with you all again. Um, and this brings us to this will be our 13th lesson. I think 13th lesson. So all great. um okay, now a few announcements before we begin. Firstly, for the Google Docs form, um I will post the link again towards the end of the lesson. For those of you who didn't receive the link, please make sure you fill out that form, because today is the last day for filling off that form and getting up in your details. So I will post the link again, um, and please make sure you complete that. If you don't, you will lose out on a really nice certificate of participation. Right, so remember that. Okay, now the other thing I want to remind you all about is Friday is a very special lesson. It's special for two reasons. uh, from our side, from my side, my half of the lesson is going to be actually you guys taking control. And then you're going to get the opportunity to share your screen with everybody else in the class and to demonstrate some of the things you have been experimenting with as I've been sharing and teaching with you over the last 3 weeks. The second reason why Friday's class is special is that for the second half, you also will be allowed, together with your parents, whoever else is in your home sharing this experience with you, we will be allowing you to share video on Zoom. And for whatever time is left, we will be able to converse with each other. We'd like to answer any questions that you or your parents may have with regards to the program and what the future holds for you as a student in primary school. So thank you for that. Having made those announcements, let's move on to what our plan is for today. Today is lesson 13, and in lesson 13, we are going to be using broadcast, which I taught you how to use yesterday, and we're going to use variables as well, which we learned earlier in the week, and of course input, which we learned last week and then also this week. And we're going to put them all together to create animations. So again, a little more code for you to work with today that you can add to what you already have in order to create animation effects. And of course, our idea, our plan to bring this entire session to an end is that you will be able to put all these things together to create your own small game. Yes, it's limited in what we can do, but I mean, just imagine we did it in 3 weeks. Some of you might have fiddled with more things. Remember, I only tackled a few of the coding blocks, and if you took the opportunity to experiment with the others and see what they do, well, maybe you learned even more things. So on Friday, you don't only have to use all what I taught you as part of your game project. If you yourself have figured out how to use other events and other blocks of code in Mizora blocks, well then I'm proud of you. By all means, make use of them and let's see what you can do. Okay, so that would be happening on Friday. Now, I firstly must apologize. My machine is behaving badly today in terms of its speed, but here we are. Okay, so let us continue with where we left off yesterday in the program that we were doing, where we were trying to animate this little rocket ship at the bottom, and we were allowing the user to be able to control the rocket ship. So I just quickly want to go through that, and then um, we can proceed with what we need to do today. Okay, now, yesterday I said to you that this piece of code, if you look at it carefully, which belongs to the rocket, allows the rocket to move. We've got these, everything. Well, let's just quickly go through it. In the first step, the rocket originally was quite big, so we said, let's set it to 40% of its original size. It's not taking up so much of the screen now, right? Then we got a loop that runs forever, because he could, like, sit there for 5 minutes and to sense everything forever. Here, like, here's your forever loop there. Can you see? And I had all this code inside there. If you look at each piece of this code again, it's 4 pieces of the same thing, except for the fact that when we want the up arrow, we change the Y position by 5 more units. So the rocket goes up 5 and keeps increasing by 5. And then for the down arrow, we're subtracting 5, so it goes down. For the, when we want it to move left, there's left. Can you see this arrow, left and right? If you go more this way, can you see the X values get smaller? So we subtract 5. And if we want to go this way, we add 5. So the rocket simply jumps 5 this way, 5 that way, 5 that way, or 5 that way, depending on which arrow keys is pressed. And you can see we are using the sensing block to capture what the user pressed. Again, you can change this number 5 to bigger numbers if you want the rocket ship to move faster, or smaller numbers if you want it to move slower. So you, as the programmer, can decide. When you're testing it, you can, see how it's working. And I was happy. I thought 5 kind of looked cool, right? And that's how we did it. Now we're going to put all that into this forever loop here. And we are now going to just rounding all of your code to indicate that that code is presently running, and now it's sensing, right? Nothing's happening on the screen. I'm not touching my keyboard. Can you see? The forever loop is running all our sensing blocks and just simply waiting continuously for something to happen, for the user to do something. Right, so up, down, I press my left arrow, just moving the ship. Can you see it looks, even if you press the right and up together, down, left, it actually even looks like it's moving diagonally, but it's not, because I'm just pressing the arrow keys together one after the other, right? Also, you got to learn how to put your one hand on the arrow keys when you don't have a joystick, so that you can get control. You don't want to use 2 hands to try and you know um, control the ship. Okay, and that's where we were yesterday. So we were pretty cool. You're now using input and the sensing to be able to see what the user respond to what the user does. Okay. Then we added this thing, a bullet, right? Let's get the hold this from the rocket. And so what we did was we um, we put this crystal on the screen, and we just went and looked for a sprite that could kind of be a bullet. So I thought the crystal was okay. Also it was pretty big. So we wanted to drop its size. We dropped it to 70% of its size. Remember, every time you select a sprite, the sprite will appear on the stage. When the program's running, you don't, all your sprites can be hidden. So, and you can bring them in when you need them. So when we start our program, we want only the rocket to be seen, and we don't want the other sprites to be seen, which is why as soon as the flag is clicked, can you see what we've done? I'm highlighting now. Look where I am. I'm in the sprite of the crystal sprite, and I want to hide the sprite as soon as the uh, the program starts, right? So that's the rocket, and that's the crystal. Right, now what else is the crystal supposed to do? Well, it's supposed to shoot. So when we set its size to 70%, um, only when it is shooting does it do that. It starts running this code. Now, how this was the broadcast that we taught you. Now, if we go back to the rocket code, you will see, oh, the code has gone a little bit to the right there. Okay, here's our other code for the rocket. Right, now we have decided that we will use the space key so that the rocket can fire or shoot the crystals out of the front. Okay, so to do that, the guy has to press the space key. Now, when the space key is pressed, we want to not actually shoot the crystal out. We simply want to create a broadcast. So the rocket says, I now want to shoot. And that is called a broadcast. Now look at this block here. Where will you find that? You'll find that in the events code, the events blocks of code. Here it is here, broadcast, right? So as soon as you press the space bar, you broadcast that you now want to shoot. Okay. Now the bullet must also shoot out from where the rocket is. So we also need to know the rocket's position. Remember, now we are in the sprite called rocket. These two values, these blue things in the sensing, will show you or indicate to you where the rocket is now by giving you its X value, which is 40, and its Y value, which is 90. That's where it is now, right? But if the user moves away or moves his hand using the arrow keys, the rocket will move away from its current position. And we don't want the crystal to shoot from this new position because he already fired from there. So maybe you want to shoot at something that's there and then move and get out of the way. So that's why we want to save the old position of the rocket. And how do we do that? We use two variables. One variable is called X, one variable called Y. So it makes a copy, see? Makes a copy of this X position and stores it in the variable called S. Let's click on our variables. Here you can see our two variables that we made. How did we make them? We click here, make a variable. So X position gets stored, Y position gets stored, and now we have it. Now, when the user moves the rocket, this blue X position will change. This blue Y position will change. The rocket will be in its new location. But these two things will not change, right? They won't change. They'll stay whatever numbers. And you can see on the screen, although I'm moving the rocket, can you see that these X values and Y values are staying constant? But the X position, I'll show you if you go to the motion, right? Can you see the X and Y? Watch that, right? Can you see it's changing as I am changing, as I'm moving the rocket? You can see that the sensing keys change. Can you see the X positions and the Y positions are changing based on how we are moving the rocket? But can you see the X and the Y values remain the same? Now, to demonstrate, I'm going to press the space key here, right? Can you see? I pressed the space key. Now, can you see what happened to the X and Y values? 98 minus 66. Let's look at our positions. X position, 98, Y position, minus 66. Why? Because it took the X and Y positions of where the rocket is now, and it pressed the space bar again, and it fires that crystal because it knows that the rocket was here, X and Y. Can you see? Positions. Now I'm going to move the rocket away. I'm going to even shoot and then move the rocket away. Can you see the crystal is still continuing to fly up? Its X is still 98 and minus 66 because the rocket was here. But now, if you look at your sensing components, you'll see that the rocket has moved to a new location, minus 12 and minus 66. Well, the X values changed because I only moved a little to the left, right? Can you see that? Now, if I fire the crystal, can you see? It fires from minus 12, minus 66, which is my new position. If I move the rocket away somewhere else, it's gone somewhere else now. But the X and the Y values are still minus 12 and 66. So that's demonstrating how this works. Only when you press the space bar, it saves those two values. See, the rocket's moved to a new space now. When I press space bar, it is going to broadcast shoot, and it's going to save those two positions. So therefore, I can always get the crystal to shoot from where the rocket was at the same time when the user pressed the space key. Now let's see how the broadcast works. Remember, the rocket doesn't shoot anything. It's artificial intelligence. We make it look like it's shooting. We are the smart ones. Okay, so let's look at this broadcast. So the rocket says, I want to shoot, but it doesn't actually do any shooting. So how do we fake the shooting? How do we make it seem like the computer is actually shooting? And that is using this code here. It says, when I receive, shoot. So that's how we use a broadcast. So the rocket sends the broadcast, the crystal is waiting to receive the broadcast. Right, so it says, when I receive shoot, what must it do? The crystal must drop in size. It must go to that X and Y position of the rocket that we captured here, those two variables. And then now the crystal can show itself. And then from showing itself, it can glide using the glide feature, which I taught you yesterday, all the way up the screen. We're keeping the X position because we want it to go up in a straight line. And we're saying move towards Y equals 180 because 180 is around about there, right? And then we are saying hide. See what happens if we don't put the hide there. Let's fire it now. Can you see 180 is just on the edge of the screen and you can still see a bit of the bullet there. So it kind of gets like stuck there. It's a bit untidy. But when we put the hide there, as soon as the bullet reaches that spot, it will then hide itself and it will appear as if the bullet went completely through the screen. Okay, guys, I'm just going to, well, that's everything we did yesterday. Now we're going to add some new stuff, but I just want to go to, I just want to go to my email to show, to just get that link. And I want to post that link for you right now. Okay, so this was the link for the forms. Okay, so let me just copy the link address and then I will paste it on the chat to everybody. Okay, and I'm now sending that to all of you. Right, so on the chat again, everybody, you will be able to see that link again to the Google Documents, right? So I have posted it there once again. Also, the chat gets saved in the form will be available tomorrow. So don't waste time. Make sure you do it as soon as this lesson is over. Okay, now let's move on to what we want to do today, right? Today, we want to add a few more things to the crystal. Let's also make the crystal make a sound when it shoots, right? You can do your own sounds if you like, but the crystal has I'm going to go into the sounds. It has these two sound effects. So, loading. Let's listen to this one. Okay. Oh, that's like a. Okay, I think that will be okay. Let's just use that one, and let's add the sound to our code. The sound is called what was it? Magic spell. Okay, it's more like we're casting a spell, but you'll see because it's a crystal, it'll kind of make sense when we do that, right? So as soon as the crystal shows itself, let's play that sound, and we'll add that to our code. Play start sound. Let's just go start sound. The other one, magic spell. Right, now let's see how the code runs. So we move the rocket. we've got the rocket shooting, a little crystal out the front, and the crystal also makes a nice firing sound. We really like to have a nice sound added together, so that we can, um, you know, it sounds satisfying that we've got everything covered. Okay, so that much is pretty okay. And now we need something to shoot at, don't we? The rocket guy hasn't got anything to shoot at. So let's go and create something for him to shoot at. So everybody with me so far, right? You can see how everything's works. The rocket with the broadcast, and whenever it gets shoot, we want to, we want to do something. So um, let's give him something to shoot at. Let's go to our sprite. Okay, I do apologize, everybody. Once again, my PC is very slow today. I think I did click on it. While we're waiting for that to open, guys, you all okay? You can't hear the sound. Yeah, okay. I don't know. Is everybody not hearing the sound? It's coming through my computer speaker. Even if you're not, when you do the code for yourself, you should be able to pick it up from your computer screen. So maybe it has something to do with the settings on your end of the PC. There's not much I can do from this end in order for you to hear the sound. However, if it is not working from you listening to my one, when you do the code on your PC, you'll see. Okay, so I want this bug, this beetle-like bug. Let's try and shoot at this bug here. Okay, so we firstly, that's a pretty big bug. We certainly don't want it to look so big. So we'll write some code for this bug here. When the flag is clicked, let's set its size to change size, set size to, and let's fiddle around and see what's a good size for him. Let's make him really small. Let's also go 40% and see how much that is. Okay, actually, no, let's not set it there. Let's set it here. Let's set it on the bug itself. Right, okay, too small. Okay, if you want a little bit bigger, right, okay, I think 50% is okay. Let's change the direction of it. Oh, my machine is so slow today. Right, and we want him to face down, which is, I need that to be 180, right? Remember, I also did a lesson for the directions. 0 is up, 180 is down, 90 is right, minus 90 is left. So okay, that's done. Let's put the bug somewhere on the top of the screen. Okay, so now the rocket has something to shoot at, but of course nothing happens, right? So when the rocket moves somewhere there, and we let go of this crystal, the crystal is gone through the bug. So now we want to do this thing that happens when the crystal actually hits the bug. We need to know when the bug is touching the crystal. And when the bug is touching the crystal, then we want we want, maybe, I don't know, maybe we want to do something to show that it's dying. And then of course we want to erase it completely from the screen. So we need to do another thing, right? What is this other thing that we're going to do? Any ideas? Hmm? Okay. Ibrahim raised his hand. Okay, let's see what you are wanting to say. For now, I don't want to waste too much time. I need to show you how to do this. So maybe controls, hide. Yes, we can probably do a simple hide. So let's write some code for the bug. Let's write some code. And what can we do? Let's see. We will say. Let's see. Change the effect. Okay, but how are we going to change it? How will the bug know that it has been shot? Right? How will it know that it's shot? Right? Okay, I'll show you. In the sensor, there is a where's that goodie? Sensing. I'm supposed to be in sensing. Right? Can you see this one there? Touching. Right? Sprites can sense when they are touching things, when they are touching some colors that are on the screen, or even when they are touching other sprites. So the bug will have to let the bug do something, or something can happen to the bug when it ends up touching the crystal, right? Can you see the crystal is in our list now because the computer is picking up all the sprites. We can do something when the bug is touching the rocket ship. We can do something when the bug is touching the crystal, right? Can you see that? That's how touching works. Why is it picking up those? Because if you look at the bottom, I've got the bug highlighted. Now, what happens if I highlight the crystal and then I put a touching sensor there? It gives us the choice, is the crystal touching the beetle or is the crystal touching the rocket? It picks up the other things that are there, right? So you see, we can program the bug to know when it ends up touching the crystal. Now, if you remember, I taught you a control structure called if, okay? And we can say, if the bug is touching the crystal, oops, oh, guys, I do apologize. You can see my computer is lagging. It's really something's happened in the memory. I don't know what's running in the memory, right? So look at this. If the bug is touching the crystal, well, now it's saying mouse pointer, so let's change that to crystal. Right, so read that. If touching crystal, then what do we want it to do? We want it to, well, somebody suggested use an effect, so let's use an effect. We can make it disappear. Remember how we made things disappear? Let's use a repeat 100 because, and we change the effect that we did all these things before. Now notice how we are using some things that we have done before, and we are now combining them with these new things that we have learned. So we say repeat 100, and let's change the effect. Where on earth is that thing? Right, change the color effect by, let's say, change the ghost effect. Remember, ghost made it disappear. And let's change it to 2 so we can make it fade. So we can make the bug fade slowly if it gets shot, like so, right? But that only happens if it's touching the crystal, right? Okay, and that must be in the code for the bug. Right now, we also need to put a forever loop around there because we have no idea at which point in the program the bug will actually end up touching the crystal. So the bug has to always be sensing forever to see at which point if it will ever touch the crystal. And can you see that? Without the forever loop, it only checks as soon as the flag is done, it checks that and it's not touching the crystal. Now I want to just show you that. If I remove the forever loop, oh, again, my PC, oh, this is so irritating. Okay, right, okay, let me stop the program. Right, so here's our instructions, right? And if we leave it like this without the loop, as soon as I press the flag, now I'm pressing the flag. This code is going to run. It's going to check if the bug, well, let's call it, they're calling it a beetle. I'm sorry, I'm calling it a bug. Its official sprite name is beetle, right? And it's obviously at this point in time, the crystal is not touching the beetle. So it'll run this code and it won't do anything. And if we shoot at it now, the crystal goes right through the bug, right? So nothing happens. So that is why forever loops are so important. I said to you before, you might wonder, why would you ever want to run a loop forever? And that's because we want this bug to always, the entire time while this program is running, always be testing to check to see, am I touching the crystal? Am I touching the crystal? Am I? And eventually there will come a point where it is touching the crystal, right? Okay, now let me, to activate that code, I need to rerun the program. Now it's including that. Can you see it's highlighted? It's all nothing. It's running this code, but nothing's happening because the bug, the beetle, is not touching the crystal, right? Remember, this code is in the beetle. Now let's fire at the beetle, and you can see it's faded out. If you feel that's too slow and you want it to disappear faster, you can do that. We can add another effect in there called no man, I'm looking for effects. Change the effect, and let's change the pixel effect. I want to do that one, and the ghost, so it'll pixelate and disappear at the same time. Now watch what happens when you got this in there, right? So it kind of pixelates and then disappears. I don't know if that was too fast or too slow. Let's go 10 and run the code again, and let's see how that looks. That looks a bit better. So again, you can fiddle around and see what kind of effects you want. Also you can create a sound effect for the bug. You can go into the sounds and you can create like a death effect. I don't know what other sounds there are in here. If you, when you are in let me just show you what I did there. There is one sound that's loaded with each of the sprites, right? So this is this pop sound that's loaded with the sprite. But if you want to, if you don't like that sound and you want to use one of the other sounds, you know, you can see all of them. I made my own sound for this bug thing to die. I don't know what these alien sounds are like here. What's that one? Oh, interesting. Okay, so let's put that sound there versus Alien Creek. Okay, so we go back to our code, and if it's touching the crystal, then let's play the Alien Creek sound. Start sound Alien Creek. We don't want to do that in the loop, right? Look at it very carefully where my code is. Can you see my loop? I've got the hand showing you where the loop is. If you put the sound in the loop, then you're going to repeat 100 times. It's going to repeat that alien sound 100 times. That's going to be annoying. We only want the sound to appear once. So just before this repeat loop, just before the repeat loop, we put this alien sound. And now when we run the program, we get this effect, right? So can you see how all our knowledge, the combination of costumes, the combination of sound effects, the combination of actual feature effects for the sprites, together with our loops and together with the sensing, you've already created, you can see you're already setting up pretty much a shooting game there. And then if you want, you can go in and you can get in another bug and add more bugs in. And of course, we've also got a few problems with the rockets because, sorry, with the crystals, because you could only shoot one crystal at a time. So you'll see, let's run the program again. Now, can you see, if the user wants to shoot a lot of things, because we only got one bullet firing at a time, if you keep pressing it, it never reaches the bug. Okay, so that also could be a bit of a problem. Right? Can you see how I shot the bug and then moved out of the way? Let's do it again. Let's see if we can go right up to the bug there, shoot and move away. That's the important part about needing to save the position of the rocket, because the rocket wants to shoot at that bug and then get out of the way. Of course, now if you can make a rocket shoot, you can make the bug shoot, and you can create ways in which the beetle can shoot back at the rocket. Obviously, you don't want to make things too difficult. If you have lots of beetles and they're all shooting at the same time, the rocket will get killed off where there's only one rocket. And of course, you can create multiple beetles as well. All right, so at this point, I'm going to pause and ask uh, if you have a question. And look, what I'll do is I'll give you a chance to ask a question by unmuting you. Ibrahim, I am unmuting you so that you can ask your question.
My name is Hadia.
Oh, okay. So you're using your father's computer.
Yes.
Yes.
So when you finish, can you save the file and then share it to the Zoom?
Okay, you want all this code to keep for yourself. Okay, what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to create a folder and I'll give it to you where you can have all the programs I wrote. In fact, this one is a bit bigger. Let me just unmute you. Is that all you wanted to ask? Anything else? No. Okay. Yes, what I will do is, guys, there's a lot more I'm going to show you. And I'll make all of those programs available for you so that you can experiment with this when you're making your own game. Okay, now any other questions? Okay. Who else has hands up? Okay. Maguire?
Sir?
Yes. How are you?
Fine, thanks, and you, sir?
I am good. What is your question?
So my mom completed the form for my brother, the certificate. Then she wanted to complete it for me with all my details. Then she got a message that says she already responded. How can we check if they responded or they received?
Well, usually they give you, I think they ask, Africa Teen Geeks is giving you a reply when you do fill in the form, just so that you know that the form was filled. So you should get an email for them. If you sent in two, okay, great. Now, people want to see, people are asking me to show all the code. No problem. I'm going to I'll show you all the code again, and then I am going to open up something else for you. Okay, let's look at the code for the rocket. You want to see the code for the rocket. And this is the code for the rocket. Okay, so the rocket has two sets of code. These blocks, you can put a lot of stuff in here, right? And it can go past this window and can you see these little scroll bars at the bottom? You scroll like this and you can move along the code, and you hold the mouse here and you go up and down on this line. You can go up and down on your script screen for the code, right? If you take this a little bit to the right, okay, so here's all the code for the rocket, for those of you who wanted to see it. There's two pieces of code because there are two events. Remember, these are events. Whenever you want something to happen, you must create an event. So this rocket can do two things, right? It can move, and when does it move? As soon as the flag is clicked. We use the flag event for all the sprites that must get activated as soon as the user starts the program. The flag click means the program is beginning. Some sprites only come into play later on when we need them. For example, you can see the crystal does nothing. It's a shooter, it only comes later on, and we use the broadcast for that. So you can see that the broadcast is used to activate the crystal. So the crystal has two events. When the flag is clicked, we don't want it to be seen. So all that happens is that it must hide itself. And as now it's waiting for the shoot message to be able to activate and do its thing, right? The rocket, we are also using the event where we can see what happens. The flag is clicked is one thing, but the user can press keys and sprites can do things when the keys are pressed. So this sprite, when the space bar is pressed, we want it to broadcast shoot. And so the crystal knows what to do when it is shot. Right? The beetle is waiting to be connected to the crystal, and then it does this thing where it dies out. It's dying thing, right? So let's go through the three sprites. Now we got three sprites in the program. We've got the rocket, right? There's the rocket code. We've got the crystal code, and of course we've got the beetle code, right? Demonstrate a slightly important thing, and then bullet and one one rocket. So I'm actually going to load a program that's not even finished yet. I've just been fiddling with it. After I teach you, then I go to the code and I muck around there and add things to it. And like I said, my children are the testers, so they play with it and see what's wrong and fix all the problems. But when I finish this, it will be a fully fledged shooting the Beatles game. Yesterday, now where did I save the most recent one? I think, I'm not sure, I think it's this one. Working on it and saving each different section because I wanted to show the progress. Okay, now you'll see I've got a lot more things in here. I want to moving up the restart. If you've got a second sprite, if one bullet is shooting, we can actually create a second one that will follow it. So I'm allowing up to 5 because it takes, I tested with 5 because by the time one of the bullets gets up to the top, there's plenty of time for about 4 more bullets to shoot, and then you can start recycling these 5 so that each one is operating, right? And you can see, I'll share this code with you, right? You can also see that it's now checking. It has to check which bullet is being shot, right? So these are all the bullets. The code for all the bullets are the same except for this one. Bullet C, it says if bullet 4, if it is bullet 3, then it does. The code that I gave you is exactly the same. It's doing everything the same. And then I got the bugs, the beetles, right? This is what the beetles do. Now notice I got a complicated thing in here because I'm using more than one bullet. So now we don't know which bullet is touching, which crystal is touching the bug. It doesn't, the bug needs to check for all crystals. So you'll see this is a very long piece of code. If you look at that, right, you're going to get a little scared there. I'm combining one thing that I didn't teach you how to use, and that is this OR block here. You can use this as an additional thing if you want to have lots of conditions. And I put 5 of them there so that I can say, is the bug touching bullet 1, or is it touching bullet 2 or bullet 3, and so on and so on and so on. And then you can see the rest is the same. That's the sound I use: pixelate, ghost it. There's an additional thing that I'm saying broadcast dead, and that's I'm adding an additional broadcast there because I don't want one bullet to shoot 2 bugs in a row. So when the bullet will know when it's killed a bug, I want the bullet to disappear. And so, of course, I put a lot of bugs, and I'm only showing you this. I don't expect you to be able to understand this code. It's where we are going in the long run. And of course, you can see now that the program is running. The rocket can move around. And of course, when you shoot, it starts shooting these bugs. Right? And you can see you can shoot lots of bugs all at the same time. What is the issue? Oh, this hide is in the wrong place here. This hide should not be there. The bug is getting hidden, so you're not seeing its pixel effect as well. Can you see I got the hide inside the repeat loop, so that is an error on this one, right? So we got to fix that one and copy the error for all the bugs that we've got. So generally what we do is we get one beetle to work correctly, and then you copy the code to all the others, right? And so you don't have to repeat the code. I'm going to show you how to do that now. When I go to the end of it, I'm going to have to repeat everything now because I copied the code before I realized there was that error in it. So and so unfortunately, you're going to have to make the change in each of the bugs. But I just want to do that now quickly so that I can show you how the pixel effect works on all the bugs as they are all up together. So you got this, I think this principle is based on a very old game called Space Invaders. It's an arcade game, and you can see that you can, just with a little bit of code, the only thing I think you can't do is, have a lot of bullets. Right? Don't worry about this. You just shoot one at a time for your game. And then later on when you, experiment, you can work with this, right? You only need this complicated section here if you want to have like lots of bullets. But I showed you how to do one, so just worry about the one. Right, so we want to see that pixel effect. Right, can you see that? You want to see that pixel effect as it shoots, the. Okay, so my shooter is also doing funny things. So that's more or less what you want to see, that little pixel effect happening on the screen as you shoot them. So to add more to this game, what we will simply need to do is we can make the bugs move down at some point. We'll start it off simple and we'll give it a few seconds. And then after a few seconds, we can get a bug to move down and we can add other events. For example, if you go to this event here, you can see when, where's it? There we go. Oh, no, this one in the sensor. When touching, and when the bug is touching the rocket, well, then you can have the rocket explode and create some stuff where the rocket is dead. If any of the bugs hit onto the rocket, well, then maybe you want the rocket to be dead. You can also have the bugs fire or spit or do something later on, and they can shoot at the rocket, and the rocket can have a sensor to check if any of the bug spit is hitting them, then the rocket can explode. And those are the things we're going to add to it. Obviously, it makes things very, very, very complicated. But who knows? If you enjoy this work and you experiment, you will get there. I just want to comment also. You don't have to be able to do all this in 3 weeks. If any of you are able to do it, let me tell you, you are super smart, and I would encourage you to take up IT and this coding stuff as early as you can, and do information technology when you get to high school, because you'll do very, very well. Certainly in 3 weeks, I had to try and speed up. So the whole idea of these 3 weeks is not to specifically teach you how to do everything to create the game, but it's supposed to at least demonstrate the capability of the block programming and what can be done. So again, if you haven't followed and if you find that some things are confusing, don't be disappointed or don't think that you are silly and it's not good enough for you. What we did here, if this actually ends up in school, it will probably take you about 6 months of working in school, or maybe more, maybe even the whole year to even get to this point where you'll be able to do all these things. They're going to take things very slowly and take you through everything in very, very slow steps so that each person has the opportunity to follow. I went up a little bit faster so that I can end this thing, and I wanted you to see exactly how all of what you learn can be put together, and you can really create some classic things. You can really create some very, very interesting games. And I'm sure you might have even better ideas than me. I'm a good coder, but I'm not very creative. I would actually, if I was designing games, I would hire people to create my screen ideas for me. And yeah, so that's it. That's how we use broadcasting together with all the code that we did in order to create these really interesting animations. So I'm going to end the class on that note for today. I'm going to find a way to share. My supervisor says that the only way I can share the code with you is via email. So I will email you all the code that I've got and everything that I have been working on so that you can see how it works. So no worries there. Tomorrow is the last day that I'm going to be teaching. I'm going to demonstrate a different game with different capabilities that I'm going to share with you. And after that, I'm going to look forward to seeing what you have got. So before I sign out, again, we've got a few minutes, so I will give you an opportunity if you'd like to ask me any questions. Okay. Right. I see people have got their hands up, so let me go to, okay, I'm unmuting. I think you said your name was Nadia.
Hadia.
Okay.
Sir.
Oh, Hadia, right. Yes.
To share it, you go on file and then you save it. And then when you finish saving it, you copy it and then paste it in the Zoom, in the chat.
I don't think it's going to paste all the entire image to the chat though. The chat is meant for text. We'll try it. Okay, thank you.
Sir, but then you can you have to download it and then we get the whole code.
Okay. Okay, let's just see what other people are saying. Okay, thank you, Hadia. Libukham, what are you saying? Hello, how are you?
Sir.
And what have you got to say? What's your question?
Okay, so sir, I just wanted to ask, can the games just be that simple for Friday?
Yes. If you can do this, you're brilliant.
Okay.
We don't want you to do at this stage, at your level, and with all the stuff that I taught you. If you can do something as simple as that, you are definitely on your way to being a very good programmer. We certainly don't want anything. If you are able to do even more, then definitely you're a born programmer. That is for sure, right? So yes, we wanted your game has to be really basic and simple. Just moving something around and getting control. You just need to learn to experiment with the things. I've really done a lot more than is probably expected of you at your age. But like I said, the reason for that is I wanted to demonstrate what you can do with the program. But if you even just get something to move around the screen and respond to the buttons that the user are pressing, even that is perfect. That is absolutely brilliant, and well done to you if you manage to do that. I want to unmute my man Trevor. We haven't heard from Trevor. Hello, Trevor. How are you?
I'm fine.
Okay, Trevor. What's your question?
So can't we can you like put another game like to say you yeah, maybe you can let's say I can play pinball or maybe basketball. So yeah.
Yeah, you could do all that.
Okay.
I'm going to show you a different thing tomorrow. The one that somebody saw on my files, it was called Xenon. When I was a kid, there was this game called Xenon in which there is a ball that bounces between two people, and you've got to prevent it from passing you. They give you this little pedal. You remember that game? And then the ball bounces off the walls and things like that. But I got that. I wrote some code for that, but there isn't time left to show you that code and talk about it. I'm gonna do that tomorrow. Okay. So yeah, so that's it. And yeah, guys, let me just in closing, because I know that I only got like 3 minutes left. I want to just say to everybody, guys, about the game that I wanted you to demonstrate on Friday. The game is not meant to be complicated. If you have, and if you are smart and you've been fiddling and experimenting over your holiday and you managed to come up with something really fascinating, by all means demonstrate it, and well done to you. But what we want you to do for Friday is something very, very simple. And I was saying to I think Hadia, if you are just able to move something around, a sprite, experiment. Don't use anything that I use now. Choose different sprites. Use different sounds and sprites, and if you can just get them to respond to the user pressing certain keys, like what we did today was how the left, right, up, down arrow keys can control the rocket, and the space bar can make it fire. So if you can even just get something like that done, that would, I would consider that absolutely brilliant for your age group, right? So just remember, we are aware you're only in grade 7, and remember also everybody learns at different paces. Somebody you can pick up things pretty fast. Some people, you need a little bit more explaining. For example, this might just look so terribly confusing, this bit of code here to somebody, but then others might be able to look at it and figure it out. So that's why I've done this, because I also know that some people in this field are extremely smart and are able to figure things out. So I put some extra stuff on there for you. But if you don't understand all of those things, it is not a problem. For your age, if you have kind of followed a little bit of what we're doing, even if you can do half of what I taught you to do in the 3 weeks that you were with me, you would have accomplished a great deal. And I can assure you, if you choose the subject, they'll go slowly in class and you'll be able to follow and pick up things and you won't get lost. So yes, that's that's the idea about the game. And don't forget, also, you'll have a chance to video chat with me on Friday. So we're looking forward to that. Tomorrow we'll demonstrate a few more games. I said I'll demonstrate the other one for you. And again, not to make you scared. When you look at the code, you'll say, oh, it looks so scary. You can't do it. We doing it. With that, I am out of time, guys. I look forward to seeing you. We got 2 more classes, but I'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock